This week's a big week. 11.1.5 goes live. We already know that. And more Mythic Plus nerfs. The meta continues, but players are actually playing against the meta. I'm going to show you guys the stats that show what's really being played as compared to what the meta actually is. Here we go. Let's dive straight in. Everything coming in 11.1.5. We already know a lot of this. I'm not going to go through it all again, but yes, there is, of course, the you got the Hallowfall event. You got Horrific Visions coming later. You got the Dastardly Duos coming later as well. Reputation and Renown buffs coming very soon with this thing. User interface accessibility stuff. Horrific Visions, obviously, as I mentioned, revisited. All that stuff's coming. Mainly what you're going to get this week is the whole new event going down in Hallowfall. You're going to be killing a bunch of mobs, doing a bunch of stuff. It's a bunch of open world content, a bunch of new transmog you can get out of that thing, and good for leveling alts if you want to do that. Besides that, some storylines and things. Not too much. It's like the patch hits this week, but does it really hit this week? Not really. It's pretty hitting in 3 weeks when Horrific Visions go live. But this week, by watching shitty streams like my own, I'm not going to say every stream's shitty, but mine is. But we'll say you watch it for 4 hours, you're going to get a Twitch drop this week. You're going to get yourself the Beatrix Maiden bug. I don't know how you Maiden bug. So you can go ahead and reward yourself for putting up with this shitty stream for at least 4 hours, getting yourself this. That starts tomorrow when the patch goes live. Also this week, I completely forgot about this, maybe in the hype of the patch coming and everything else, Noblegarden's returning. April 21st to the 27th. I guess it goes live today. Noblegarden returns. That's right. There are a few new things here. Obviously, now it's going to be in Kaz-Elgar, so you'll be able to see this here. Nice little setup for the Noblegarden event. Kaz-Elgar welcomes the Feast of the Noblegarden. By the way, this is the Easter event in World of Warcraft. With great aplomb and festooned Dornagal, what is this? With festive decorations, as well as a new egg hunt for hidden brightly colored eggs. That's right. You get these eggs, you get little chocolates out of them, and you can use that currency to buy things from the event. The stack count for the brightly colored eggs has been increased to 18, okay, and then festive new weapons and transmogs. We'll look at those here in a second. Also, there's this new animated Azeroth Behold of the Staff of Orgrimmar. If you haven't seen it, kind of funny, go check it out. For the Noblegarden, don't forget the large duck. Yeah, the large duck. Summoning the large duck is a thing again. The duck invasions of Razor Hill and Goldshire are the machinations of an angry duck druid, Daytan Swiftplume, who is offended by this ridiculous festival of colored eggs. It's located in both Elwyn Forest and Durotar, as I mentioned before. You can head over there, search around the area for the golden egg. This thing will spawn in locations in both Elwyn Forest and Durotar. Once you find it, you bring it to the nest, and you can summon this boy. So once he's summoned, yeah, he'll be blasted down pretty damn quick. Why do people want to do this? Well, for one, there was that big flying carpet. Yeah, the noble flying carpet. This thing was a very rare drop. Start early on. I'm not sure how rare it is currently, but this was definitely a mount that people were chasing for a while. You got the little eggs floating there. Something that people enjoy doing, obviously, trying to get this guy. I think you get your best shot at getting the carpet on your first kill of him, and then after that, it's like a super low chance of it dropping. So do it at least once a day, and you'll get yourself a decent chance at getting this thing, or the best chance you can possibly give yourself. You can also loot a bunch of chocolates and eggs and things like that. Obviously, for all the other things, you can get this nice little transmog as well. So what are the new things that you're going to get out of this festival? Well, there are a few. Little transmogs here. You can collect one more color for the ducking toy. Yes, that's true. Yes, the duck toy as well. That's right. You can get a different color. So that color thing. I think there were 4 different colors, and you could get one like per event, basically. So yeah, getting another color. That's right. Was the way to get it. The full outfits seem rare too. Not too many. Yeah, all the drops from this thing were pretty damn rare. So getting it was something that a lot of people were trying to do back when it was last live, and it's live again. Besides that, buying things with these chocolates, you can get yourself a nice little flowery staff, a flowery bow here, a few other things, the little flowery axe. Yeah, flower stuff. You want yourself some flower stuff. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit oversaturated on the flower armor. I feel like we got a lot of flower and butterfly stuff from the trading post, so these items seem like a bit, a bit more of that. So if you're into that armor set style, yeah, there's more things to buy from this Noblegarden event. Now, moving on to Mythic Plus. More nerfs coming in. Blizzard just wants to make this season a walking cake, okay? Or a cake walk, as some of those layman's terms that people like to say. Absorb reductions by 20% for Dark Flame Keth's Candle King. So there you go. Cinderbrew Meadery. Hobgoblins no longer spawn brew drops on death. and Yes Man's health reduced by 10%, so there you go. That's a little bit easier. Now, Operation Mechagon, we got some other nerfs here. Rim visuals added to plasma orbs. That's good. You'll be able to see this shit better. Line visuals also added here, and then Cujo's health reduced by 10%. That's a good one. And then addresses an issue where Cujo can be hit during a venting flame in certain angles. Okay, so that's no longer a thing. Priory of the Sacred Flame. Adret Paladin health reduced by 6%. You have Feverent Sharpshoots Pot Shot cooldown increased by 100%, so that's been doubled now. Warlink's health reduced by 20, and the Pounce impact damage reduced by 20%, so the links will be easier now. And then Priory Murphy's health reduced by 12.5%. So there you go, some reductions there, making Mythic Plus easier. Now, speaking of Mythic Plus, there's a meta. There's a meta, but we're going to see players are kind of pushing back against it. At least that's what it's looking like here. So the way we find out what the meta is here, looking at all Mythic Plus dungeons across the board, and then you get into the plus 20s and that kind of shit, and you see, okay, what is the selection of classes that are happening at the highest end keys, because that's where the meta kind of takes its form. Well, right now we got Vengeance Demon Hunter, no surprise, that's your tank. Discipline Priest still sitting here in the meta. Unholy DK, Balanced Druid, and Frost Mage. There's your meta. That's your comp of the century, at least for this season. And you move a little bit further down, you get a mix-up of Fire and Frost Mage here, but that's the only variation we see between a 19 and a 20. So basically at the high end, look at this. Look at how few, only 1.1% of Paladins can be found in a plus 18. Okay, that's super tiny. Super, super tiny. But then, if we look at the real numbers, what people are playing, you'll see a completely different story. Look at this. Mythic Plus, people love their rep pallies. Paladins don't give a shit. Meta or not, they are coming to your party. Retribution Paladins make up 12, what is this, probably 12.5, 12.3% if I had to guess here, 12.3% of the party makeup for Mythic Pluses. Now, this is including all keys across the boards. We'll look at higher keys, but Unholy DKs and Balanced Druids, we see them part of the meta, but then you see Marksmanship and Beast Mastery Hunter showing up here. That's right. Thank you, Cam Shady, for the sub. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. 20 months of being a Death Knight Ever Scourge. So we see, again, Marksmanship and Beast Mastery, not part of the meta. Demonology, not part of the meta. Elemental, Havoc Demon Hunter showing up as your meta tank, and then you don't get your Frost Mage until about, what is this? How many classes down are we here? Frost Mage doesn't show up until, we got about 4 or 5 other DPS classes that aren't meta showing up. Now, again, this is across all dungeons. Yes. There's an asterisk here, and I agree. So let's look at, if we're looking at the higher end keys. So if we're looking at a 10 to 11, again, Retribution Paladins still showing up, maxed out. Now, again, what the meta is obviously what you're going to see at the higher end keys, but that doesn't mean it's not meta for every other key. It still is. Now, I always say it personally, and I preface this, don't play the meta. Just play whatever the fuck you want. Meta doesn't matter that much. If you're pushing the highest end keys where that 0.01% more damage can make a difference because you're playing everything optimally, okay, then people play the meta. But otherwise, you don't need to play the meta. Everything's fine, and Retribution Paladins obviously don't give a shit about the meta. Against Balanced Druids, again, Balanced Druids and Unholy DKs are part of the meta, but Beast Mastery Hunter, Marksmanship, Demonology Warlock, Elemental Shaman, Enhancement Shaman, all these guys ahead of Frost Mage and even Fire Mage are not part of the meta, and people are still playing them. Let's go even higher. Level 12 and up. We're still seeing it. Obviously, there's a theme here. Retribution Paladin taking the cake as the meta resistor. You want to fight against the meta? Play Retribution Paladin. That's right. I wouldn't even say Paladin is meta. They are great for Mythics, but they don't do the same damage as Balanced Druids, Unholy DK, Frostbite. Exactly, they're not meta. When we looked at the meta stats, Paladins are not meta at all. The last time you see a Paladin show up in a dungeon is a plus 18. That's what we saw in the charts just now. But people are playing them. People love them. 13% of runs plus 12 or higher are still showing up with Retribution Paladins. So that's good to see. As I said, push against the meta, resist the meta. There's no reason to just fall into the trap of I got to play a meta class or I can only invite meta classes. You're not running a plus 20 key. Calm down on yourself a little bit and just invite people based on merit or whatever. You know, they're trying to get in, let them in. Our Paladins are easy to play. That's why, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've said the same. But look, Paladins are fun to play. I will say that. Their class is actually at a great spot, and a lot of people are playing them. And yes, a lot of them are running Mythic Pluses with them, which is good to see. I like to see classes showing up outside of the meta and being played outside of the meta because I think the meta is kind of toxic for the game. That is all really in terms of news.